You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
The AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's Hart of Dixie After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Hart of Dixie After Show.
Yay! Bing is for doing. We're back doing another Hart of Dixie After Show. We're on Season 2, Episode 19, called This Kiss. So, it got kind of interesting this time. I'm your host, Whitney Lane. I'm joined with...
Hi, everybody. I am Paige Sullivan.
I'm Christine Archer. And I'm Michelle Renee.
We got lots to talk about from Bluebell, Alabama. So, we're going to jump right into it. So, This Kiss, obviously, stems from the Romeo and Juliet play that went on in Bluebell. Mm-hmm. There's always something going on, right?
Typical.
It was kind of a big week for Bluebell this week. We had Mental Health Week, we had the Romeo and Juliet play, and a new owners to Rammer Jammer.
Yes.
So we got to cover it all.
I was a little surprised by how quickly that transition in ownership happened with the Rammer Jammer. Like, I was thinking they would take a while to, like, get it together, and then maybe that would be featured in the premiere of Season 3.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it just seemed like...
Quick turnaround.
Yeah.
I guess that was the point, right? Throw them in, see how they work together, Lemon and Wade, because they're not really the normal fit. You wouldn't expect them to kind of work together, and you definitely see the struggles.
I also wonder, because we've been kind of playing with time here when we saw them break up and then come back, and it's been, we don't know, 6 months or a couple months. Maybe it's something like that. Maybe it's been a few weeks or a month or so.
Because of Brick. I think the only reason that wouldn't be is because Brick hasn't. He said it's been a week that he's been hiding and kind of avoiding Shelby.
True.
So I think that's the only way. But yeah, you really never know if it's been 6 months or
unless
2
they tell
weeks.
you. It's like marked by, when they had Thanksgiving and then Christmas. It's like that's how I can tell where we are in a time frame.
Yeah, but I mean, it's true. It happened really quickly. I was very surprised. And I'm surprised actually that it's the Rammer Jammer.
Yeah,
but it makes sense almost just because that's like the go-to place in the town. And you see everyone lining up outside of Butterstick Bakery and they can't get in because they're like, Rammer Jammer's closed. So it's kind of like their go-to where they're comfortable.
I think if they changed it, it wouldn't have the same quality it does. It wouldn't enhance the show the way it already does, because this is where everybody comes together. This is where they get drunk when they're sad and where they have the bands come for special events. So I think if they were to change it and make it any different, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't be Bluebell.
Plus, the small town people don't really like change. We've noticed that many a times. They didn't like Zoe coming in the first place, so changing the name of the Rammer Jammer probably wouldn't have been the best idea.
Probably
but it's not their restaurant then. Like, I thought the whole point was for Wade to, go out on his own and do his own thing and finally prove himself to the town, and for Lemon to show her independence. If they're just taking over the Rammer Jammer and managing it, it's not necessarily their new restaurant. It's not their baby. It's
maybe they can take the money from it and kind of create their own. I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is just giving them a purpose. Wade's no longer just the bartender. He's an owner, and Lemon's no longer a woman without a job or a home. She's
the chef, apparently.
Right. I'm also thinking, though, that they can completely change this up with the people they bring in, because they don't have any of the same employees. You already see this, who they end up hiring as the new cook. They kind of she manipulates her way in there because she has the power in the end. But, I mean, maybe that's going to be the difference, that she's going to start bringing their own little Rammer Jammer exclusive food recipes or something.
And you even think that maybe we'll be seeing more characters, because if everybody quit, including Wanda, we need new servers, and that first server obviously didn't work out because she was underage.
Yeah, can't be hiring those 15-year-olds.
Right? I mean, so maybe they'll be bringing new people in, and that will be something for us to look forward to, because they claim that this girl is a junior, or Magnolia says she's a junior at Fillmore, so maybe we'll start seeing Fillmore people. I mean, like we were saying, the integration, somebody said that last week, that maybe they would combine towns, but maybe this is just a way to bring Fillmore people into Bluebell.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think there's more to the story. It just wasn't what I expected from the get-go. In my head, I thought they were going to do the makeover, like, first thing, but maybe we have to work to get to that point.
They need to do like a high school night so we can see more of this high school like animosity and tension, you know, all the drama. Because we really never see anybody. Like Rose hasn't been in the show in a while.
she hasn't.
So like there's a lot of characters we're kind of missing out on. So maybe Rammer Jammer is going to just be the new town place, you know? Even though it was the old one.
Like a revamped town place. And,
Modern, more
Yes.
modern, contemporary, up to date.
Less dusty.
What do you think's going to happen though with Wade and Lemon? Because you kind of see them vetoing each other and kind of like, oh my goodness, we're ruining it for each other. They're bringing people in, making decisions without telling the other. It's going to be a lot of tension, I think, between the two.
But in the end, they work well together. I mean, they made everything work out, and it seems like they're a good team. I think Lemon is very driven and, you know, wants to get things done, and Wade wants to compete with her so much that I think they both are working towards the same goal, just maybe not directly together. But I felt sexual tension or something. I felt something between them that felt, I know you guys, but it was weird. I don't see it happening necessarily, but it's definitely crossing my mind right now.
It makes you think just because, but I think when he was talking about his abs, when they went to try to talk the lady into letting them have their alcohol license back, I think she was like, oh, yeah, I've seen those because you parade them around. I don't know. It didn't seem like she was that into him right then, but I just worry something's going to happen. I don't want it to.
Yeah, because friendships, people you never thought would be somebody you'd be interested in, when you get closer to them, sometimes things develop. I mean, who knows?
I think it would be too predictable for the show.
I agree.
So I don't think it's going to happen just because that's my only reasoning, which might not be that great of a reason, but I don't see it happening. I wouldn't hate if it happened. I mean,
I think I would.
Lemon has needs too. Like,
Yeah, but
Not like
Wade is
Wade.
right. She's.
well, who else? There's no one else left
That's
in
the
the town.
point. Fillmore boys,
And
come on over.
the best relationships come out of good friendships. So I mean, I wouldn't
Exactly.
hate it, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I hope it's too predictable because I think we need a little bit of shifts in what's going to happen. Just because this whole Zoe and George thing that's coming back around, and a few of these other things we've predicted before that like end up happening. I'd rather see something just like
Blow our
crazy
minds.
happen.
Well, I have to say, right now, I mean, this is jumping ahead, but the whole Brick problems with his head or whatever, the migraines that he was having and the issue in the hospital, that kind of caught me off guard. That was one thing that I didn't see coming from Hart of Dixie, and I didn't foresee happening to any of the characters, really. I feel like it's a very upbeat show, and we don't really see much of that kind of heartbreak. You see, you know, relationships, but you don't see physical.
I think they needed that, though, to have something different, because literally in the past 2 seasons, like, there's not been really one, like, awful thing that has happened aside from, like, relationships.
Yeah,
So
relationship
I think they
things.
almost need something to kind of take it in a different direction.
Kind of to a different level, which will be good to see. But
Yeah.
what did you think about Crayon? I thought, is her name Crayon? But Crayon, the new cook for the Rammer Drammer.
okay.
That's her name. Because I was
didn't
like,
catch her name.
is it Crayon? But they say it Crayon. You know how people say it like
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
I always
yeah.
say Crayon. I don't really know what her name is, but who would have thought? She's like, Wade's too skinny. Don't look at me like that, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah, but her and Meatball are eyeing each other.
Oh, I love it. I love
Oy.
it. She's going to be
Meatball.
good, I think. She could be an interesting character. She's kind of like a Frank almost. Just comes in occasionally and like
Yeah.
stirs some
Frank,
stuff up.
He was killing me in that Shakespeare play.
My question is, where is Annabeth in all of this? Like, she and Lemon used to have a business together, a catering business at that. And when the restaurant is like going downhill at first, when they're like struggling to like meet the orders and stuff, at no point were they ever like, hey, let's call Annabeth in to
Right.
help. Or they
But we
they
said that,
never
too,
like
when we were
considered her.
watching.
Yeah, they never considered her to come in and interview for at least a position doing something,
Right.
hosting or I don't
Anything.
know. Like that to me was strange.
I think it's strange as well, and I wonder, did they actually dissolve their business when they were in that fight, or was that?
No, they did.
So maybe Annabeth's busy doing it on her. Well, maybe we just don't see it. Maybe she is still doing that by herself.
I see her coming back in at some point just because this might be a prediction. I can save it for later. But just because they were trying to kind of cool things off between them and all the animosity with Levon and the other relationships they were having. But they were such a good partnership. So I could see it coming in, and maybe that's what makes it the modern contemporary Rammer Jammer.
Yeah, like additions to the menu or something,
Yeah.
like creative things that Annabeth
Or little
comes up with.
events or something. You know,
Yeah.
I'm sure they could think of some things.
Not that they need any more events in Bluebell, but
They have that under
They are
control.
very entertaining.
They
Speaking
are.
of, we should talk about the Romeo and Juliet play.
We
'Cause
should.
That was pretty entertaining. My favorite character, Frank. Like, what was he doing?
Like, has his, like,
I
torch
couldn't.
is
So
stuck.
funny. So funny.
He makes me laugh.
What were were Levon and Annabeth? What was their character? I mean, I haven't seen or read Shakespeare in like a long time, so I don't really know, but it seemed like they just threw those two characters in.
Didn't they say like Sir McClellan or something? I mean, I think it is a real, like they were.
I'm sure it is.
They were people, but I have no idea.
And Shelby too. It was just kind of random.
Well, I almost thought Shelby was the person who's the person who gets out there and gets them all amped up before a Shakespeare thing. Remember, somebody used to go out
like a warm-up guy.
Yeah, and he would get the crowd excited and kind of tell like a little intro, and then
Maybe.
I feel like I learned this in school. I mean, maybe I'm making it up. It's been a long
she
time.
Was speaking about, I definitely remember that from Shakespeare. Like the
world, like on a stage. Yeah,
that's like a famous quote. Yeah. So I guess she had a legitimate part.
Yeah,
she didn't do that well.
I'm also just confused. Like, I don't know, plays or stuff like that, they always take months to prepare for, and Bluebell just like throws them on in like a week and casts everyone. And
well, have they done it every year?
That's what I got from it. That it's a yearly.
They have a lot of annual events in this town.
They do. But I think it's interesting that Zoe knew everything. She was just like, oh yeah, I knew this, or I read this in college, like I knew this play or whatever. And it's kind of like Tom and Wanda, they knew exactly what to do, but they were so busy with their new babies, the new bee babies.
The bee
babies, get it?
Oh, we were kind of, weren't you the one who predicted that she would have babies? When she was here, you're like, oh, maybe she'll have little babies. Well,
you got it.
She kind of got them.
That's what I totally meant the entire time.
They're the most interesting couple of all time.
They would name their bees. They're like, this is what, Claudia?
And Georgina.
Georgina after George, which is that not like an insult a little bit that they named a girl bee after you?
Well, aren't the girl bees the powerful ones? So maybe they only named I think they're like the honeybees. They're the queen bee. They're the bigger ones, so maybe those are the only ones they named.
Georgina.
I
find that hilarious.
Well, Tom really likes George. He looks up to George and they're like buddies.
I find it hilarious that it was going to be Tom and Wanda. They've got it all together. And then come to find out when Juliet becomes Zoe, because she can't handle the bees and they get away and sting her, she turns around, she's like, Tom, and then it's George. We all knew this was going to happen, right?
Yeah.
You could have expected it. Exactly. And just because they have to kind of come back around and come together and kind of feel out where the relationship is now.
And we saw Tansy at the store kind of getting mad. And we knew the instant that he told her why he wasn't there that she would flip the switch and be like, you have to go back. You have to do
funny in that sense.
I don't think I'd be like Tansy at all. I think I would have definitely been like, good choice.
Yeah, I think Tansy is a pansy. Is that right?
Tansy the pansy.
She needs to put her foot down. Like, it seems to me everything she does or everything her character does is to like pacify George and to kind of keep him. She doesn't want to like, step on his toes. So she
lose him.
Yeah, or lose
something.
him. Her being like, I'm really getting used to the idea of you. Like, put your foot down. And maybe I'm just crazy, but I would be like, you need to stop talking to her, like, immediately.
See, I get a different vibe. I kind of feel like Tansy is a little bit more controlling. Like, she's basically telling George, you have to kiss her. Do you have, like, she confronts him. I mean, I think most girls, if they were kind of being a pushover and really trying to hold on to their guy, wouldn't say anything at all. And she's and for me, I guess I got from when she said that I was getting used to the idea of you, was that she was thinking that he could be somebody she'd put up with.
I think it all stems back to Wade, and she's never really trusted anyone, and that's why I think she's tiptoeing around and trying to switch it up and always like being wishy-washy with what she wants him to do. It's like, don't talk to Zoe, but then go kiss Zoe. Like, I get what you're saying in that sense, but I think a lot of it is like, she wants him to prove to her that
that's what he
cares, because Wade just up and left. He cheated and they were divorced. So I think that's a lot of it. That's why I think she's skeptical, and that's why she's saying, I'm getting used to the idea of you. She doesn't want to fully let herself feel for George because she's afraid it's going to happen to her.
He does so many things to like indicate that he's into Zoe,
right?
That like, when are you going to stop having him prove himself and just realize that he still has feelings for this girl?
Well,
like,
I think that's what
if
she's
it's right
doing
in front of your face, then
I honestly
stop
think
wasting your
she's
time.
kind of sabotaging it in a way, because she expects that he's going to eventually end up with Zoe. So putting him to these little tests, it's weird. You know how people do that though? They expect like Wade. He kind of expected that Zoe would eventually leave him, or something would happen, or he would do something wrong. I think she's almost like that just because she doesn't trust men at all. So she's kind of like waiting for George to go for Zoe, and in the meantime she's like seeing how far she can push him with him still being like, I promise I like you, but guys can only handle that so much, or girls,
But I think it's the same thing as, like you were saying though, so she's turned off and she doesn't have any trust because of what Wade did to her. And I almost feel like we're feeling that now as viewers, because you were saying he's not as attractive to you anymore and you don't like him or that he looks different. And I honestly feel like it's because of we've seen him keep repeating the same things, and now we did it to a character we really like. I think at first we were like, oh, Tansy's crazy. They're both crazy. Their marriage just was not smart. But then he did it to Zoe, and now we're kind of turned off by the idea of Wade. Because you were kept saying, you were like, I don't think he's that attractive anymore. And I still think he looks exactly the same. I think maybe it's just once you learn more about a person, your thoughts
personality,
change.
those kinds of things always change. He's still a very attractive man, don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But it's like, it's different because I don't see him standing up for what he wants. Like, what happened between Wade and Zoe? It's so annoying to me. They don't really talk about what happened. I don't see any chemistry between them anymore, and I want it back because they're my favorite.
Well, there's like supposed to be some sort of like fight after it happens, and they like kind of have this like one, like, I don't know, they talked after, what was it? It was some event. I can't even keep track.
After the wedding.
After the wedding. Sorry, thank you. So they talked after that, and then it was just like, that was it.
You always expect, like you were saying, a fight or, the oopsie sex that happens after you break up. I mean, I feel like it's the familiar thing, and they are literally neighbors, and they bump into each other in the kitchen, and I feel like maybe it's coming our way. Maybe she's putting her feelings into falling back for George because she doesn't know where else to put them because she's lonely.
Well, she said that too. She said she's a mess to Wade.
And and the fact that she can say that to him so calmly, and he can just say, I know, I'm sorry. I mean, that's strange. Like, I want to see more from them.
There has to be more. That's what the audience, I mean, all of us viewers are holding on to that. They're like, what happened? Show me what happened. Why are they just acting like everything's fine and kind of going along with their business?
I guess
they got to pull that back in.
If you think about it from like the writer's perspective, though, especially since the show hasn't been renewed for a third season, they like have to push for something. And to kind of have, not bringing George back into the picture, which like I feel like all of us agree is just kind of, we've like been there, done that 5 times. Like by bringing him back into the picture, then I would assume at some point Wade's coming back into the picture, but we only have a few more episodes for this season. So
to kind of
I'm sure hopes are that the beginning of season 3, then they would bring Wade back in. But.
Well, I'm not sure what you guys at home think, but we are obviously wondering what happened between Zoe and Wade. Zoe and Wade. Zoe, can that be their new nickname? If you like that, you can let us know in the comments. But go to iTunes, let us know what you're thinking. Do you want to see more? Do you want to see a fight? Do you want to see her with George? There are so many possibilities for her right now, so we'd love to know what you were thinking and also what you're thinking about our show. Rate, comment, tell a friend if they love Hart of Dixie. I know there's a lot of fans out there, and they may not know about our podcast. And you can also check out the other podcasts that we have here at AfterBuzz TV. There are plenty of them, so whatever you are into, we have got it, I promise you. So make sure you go to iTunes. It really only takes a minute.
Yes. Now, is it kind of weird? I know we were just talking about it, and we want to know what you guys think too. But is it weird that I see more chemistry between Zoe and George now than I did between her and Wade? I do see a little. I do, actually. I don't like it necessarily, but like, you could see it in the kiss and the dream. Let's talk about the dream.
Oh, the dream.
We were like, wow, she is ready. Look at that hair. She was just waiting on somebody.
It reminds me of like Victoria's Secret hair, like during
she looked
the show.
great.
She looked hot, yeah.
She looked good. All her outfits this episode, she was on point.
I feel like, you know how she's always lounging around and she's got really cute underwear? Like anytime she would like kind of take her clothes off with Wade, she had to look like a really cute bra and underwear. And I'm like, who just wears this all the time when you're a doctor? But I was reading that article in Cosmo, and she was saying something about how that's one of her favorite things is to wear like lingerie, even if nobody's going to see it because you know it's there. So I wonder if that's something she's kind of brought to the character a little bit.
That confidence.
Yeah, and just like the idea of it. I like when you can see a little bit of, a person in their character, which I thought was funny when I was reading that. But, geez. That was, I saw passion in that kiss.
I did, I really did. And I think it's so funny how she avoided that kiss at all costs, and it was really uncomfortable because that was not Romeo and Juliet at all. People started liking it. I mean, you got to do a little twist to it, but eventually George was looking at Tansy like, okay. And so he went back in for it. And you saw her hand kind of like reach up. That's why I was like, there's a little something.
I just think she's lonely and she's reaching for whomever she can get with potentially, because she said when she was on Brick's couch. Was it when she was on Brick's couch?
Probably.
I totally lost my train of thought. But at some point, am I Brick? Like, I guess I have like a tumor maybe. But
Oh, no. We're not
yeah,
gonna say
no.
that.
At some point, I know. Knock on wood. But at some point, what did she say? Anyway, you can go ahead and say whatever you say. I'll chime back in when I think of what I was gonna.
I honestly can't remember what I was going to say
Well,
either.
I mean, I think it was funny, I guess, to go off of what we were talking about for them when they did kiss, and after she says she had no feelings. For a second, I was kind of like, oh, really? She had no feelings? And I thought his feelings were hurt by that comment. I don't know if anybody else saw that.
I did, but I'm like, you can't ever tell.
Yeah, I can't tell. I really can't read it if he's just kind of like, oh, that's good, or if he was, upset by it. But then you see her face after, and it's like, she was lying.
Just like you said, chug that drink, girl.
Okay,
You know?
I remember what I was gonna say. When she was on Brick's couch, she's like, maybe I realized that like I should have chosen like him the first time. So I think she's like doubting her decision and like regretting that she chose Wade. So I don't know necessarily if it's that she likes George that much,
Right.
or is that, or
It's
if
just
she's
regret.
just thinking
Sure.
like, damn,
think
like
it's-
I could have been in a good relationship right now, and instead I'm like heartbroken and lonely. So
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think it's a safe bet. And she knows she was hurt by Wade, and I think she's thinking, man, I should have gone with the safe one. I wouldn't have been hurt. But at the same time, I don't know that she has nearly as much chemistry with George. We see a little bit. I think there's always something there. They're just very similar, like the whole crossword puzzle in the New York Times thing. But at the same time, there's just more there with her and Wade when they're on. Right now, it's weird.
I also think there's always something like that between really good friends. I mean, there's always that flirtation. I mean, especially when you have so much in common, it comes off as kind of an attraction. I feel like people are always like, well, let's make a pro and con list. Or like, people are like, I have girlfriends when they're like picking between guys or like got broken up with, they're like, I need to like map this out so I can see why not to get back with them or why I should be with them. And I just think, on paper, they really do look really good together, and that's what draws her mentally to him. But physically and, chemistry-wise, she's always been drawn more to Wade, or even so to Jonah. I mean, I think, like you've said, we're going to see Jonah again. I think maybe that has more substance than a George thing, because he's the combination of George and Wade. He's like he's the answer.
Next week.
I know.
Next week.
And he'll be here with us, you guys.
Very exciting.
Also, though, let's talk about Mental Health Week. Because that's another event that was happening in Bluebell, because you talked about Zoe going to Brick's couch. I mean, Brick was really avoiding Shelby during this Mental Health Week where he could sit down and help other people with their problems, yet avoid his own, which is not the best thing to do because Shelby is a very persistent lady. And I kind of feel sorry for her because she really does love him and she wants to know what's going on, which we'll get to that in a bit. But what did you think about Zoe, like, opening up to Brick of all people? And he knew. He automatically knew. He was like, George Tucker, don't do it,
I wasn't surprised. He's like a father figure to her. I mean, her dad worked with him for a long time, and she's now been working with him, and they had a kind of a rough relationship at first, but ever since, he's kind of been like her father, so I wasn't surprised at all.
And she has no other friends in town besides Levon, who I guess is spending all his time with Annabeth. She has no girlfriends.
And she's kind of
she can't talk to Wade.
Yeah, she's talked Levon's ear off too. Anyways, if I were Levon, I'd be like, enough.
Yeah, so
Good enough.
she needs someone to turn
Levon's
to.
kind of a girl too sometimes when it comes down to
God.
it. He needs Zoe just as much, which you see him kind of
Laying on the
end up on Brick's couch. Talking about how he's scared to get up in front of people. Is that what it was about, really?
Yeah,
Like the
'cause
improv, the acting?
He stuttered in a play in like the 8th grade or something like that. He was the scarecrow and he stuttered and everybody remembered it and it was
But here's the
embarrassing.
thing.
Like,
He's mayor, so he had to give many speeches to become mayor. What makes it different? Just like the pressure of being someone else, I guess?
yeah,
and
like
maybe that's
acting.
what it is.
He didn't want to act.
Hasn't he been in, like, they had all of those plays, like the...
I don't think he's
during
actually ever
Christmas time?
been in one. I think he's like Bluebell's
Running
such
the
and
event.
such is
Yeah.
happening. Enjoy the feast or whatever, like at Thanksgiving and things like that. But I don't think we ever see him acting as
We're
anybody.
seeing the different layers.
I think we can all agree that that whole little storyline could have been left out of the episode.
Oh yeah, for
Which
sure.
one? With him and Brick?
Levon's
Or what?
storyline, this episode, like, I don't,
Well,
why?
they brought it in. You see it at the end because when
him
he
and
tells
Annabeth?
his fears to Annabeth, he's able to go forward, and so now Brick's going to tell Shelby what's happening when him and
okay.
Levon talk about that. But I think they probably could have gone about that in a different way, maybe. But I think I get why they did it.
They got the point across.
They did, yes.
He becomes more open with Annabeth. That kind of helps out, but then also kind of spurs Brick to tell the truth and be honest, which is
Yes.
very important that he does.
I think it could have been anybody. It didn't have to be Annabeth and Levon. It could have been Tom and Wanda. It could have been just even the Zoe and George thing. It could have been Zoe just being like, I don't want to kiss you because I don't want to bring up old feelings, and like just saying what she's feeling.
Yeah.
I think it could have been anybody, and it would have been a cleaner kind of thing for the show if that were the case, but I see why they did it.
For sure. And I mean, I kind of pegged it because we were all sitting there, you know, Brick finally at the end, the play's over, everything's kind of dying down, and he goes to talk to Shelby, and he's sitting down there, and she's like, you've been avoiding me, like, I love you, if I can handle your teenage daughter, I can handle anything. And he starts to tell him, we're like, what? So luckily the preview for next week told us kind of what's happening.
It left us on a ledge, really. It's like a cliffhanger telling us he has a brain tumor, but it's
And has
not.
to have surgery.
It has to have surgery, but that Shelby left a note and she can't do this anymore. I feel like I'm hoping that that's not the case. I'm hoping just from the trailer they're doing that to kind of get us worked up for next week's episode. Not worked up, but, you know, anticipating what's going to happen. Because I feel like after everything she said, like, I can handle anything, it's very cowardly to walk away.
But she's
during something
also,
like that.
what, like 30?
I know,
Something.
I
She's
know.
very young, and I feel like I wouldn't be surprised at all if she does leave.
Yeah, and you see Zoe go after her and say something along the
Well,
lines
let's
of...
save this for predictions.
Yeah,
these
you should
little
do.
things, because I feel like there's some good ones with that.
I know, it's intense.
Anything else from this episode that we need to talk about? The bees have now taken up root in Tansy's trailer, so she'll be living with George.
Convenient.
Did you see that was when you see Zoe's face, like, oh, you're living together. Walk away, let me
Way
chug
to
this drink,
go.
which she
Yeah,
didn't. But I mean, a lot of new developments, really, in a bunch of different relationships.
Everybody's in a relationship
Things coming back around too, so it's getting good right now towards the end. We only have 3 more episodes, you guys. So should we
gosh.
talk news and gossip?
Yes.
Sure.
AfterBuzz TV News.
It's a slow news week for Hart of Dixie. So they have wrapped shooting this season of the show, and they're all off doing various things. For instance, Rachel Bilson is in Barbados with her boyfriend, Hayden Christensen, and she's been all over the internet because all of the blogs and tabloids, I guess, are tweeting about how hot her body looks. And she is pretty hot in a bathing suit.
Great
Yeah, she
today
looks great.
too. I mean, in the episode.
In the episode. So I guess just Google Rachel Wilson if you want to see some pictures of her hot bod to get you motivated for the summertime. Also, Laura Bell Bundy she performed this past Saturday at the What a Pair benefit concert for breast cancer research. That was in Santa Monica, and other performers included Loretta Devine, Jamie Lynn Siegler, and Leah Thompson. And the event actually raised over $250,000 for breast cancer, which is
Wow.
great. So she is a Broadway singer, I guess, originally, and before she was on Hart of Dixie. So she's still using her singing and putting it towards something good. Also, as you mentioned, Travis Van Winkle is going to be on with us next week. That's Jonah Breland, so make sure you tune in for that. That's pretty much all I have for you this week.
Woohoo. Okay, prediction time.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV prediction.
I know we all have to have a few.
I got one.
Go.
Go ahead.
I think the living arrangement with Tansy and George might cause some tension.
Ooh, good one. I like it
I
too.
agree. I was going to say that I think it's going to drive them apart, not together. I think it's going to be, I always say I don't think anybody should marry anybody until you live together, because I think living with somebody is a whole different thing. They always say don't live with your best friends because you're going to fight with them. And I think the same goes for your boyfriend or significant other. So I think this is going to start a bumpy road for them towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
I agree.
Ooh, I love it. Well, I think in terms of what we see next week, the preview, I think instead of people you see Shelby write that note, I think that's just going to make everyone rally together and kind of go after her, bring her back, and just be there to support Brick. I think it'll be a good episode to see a lot of people in Bluebell really come out to support the town doctor.
Yeah.
So it'll be kind of fun to see some people coming back, I think, if that's what happens.
How do you guys think Lemon and Magnolia will react?
Not well. But I think
Well, yeah.
I think Lemon will be strong for her sister, like she's always been, just like when her mother left. And I think we'll see her have like a breakdown, but she's got her friends and family around her. Like you were saying, I really agree with Whitney. I think everybody's going to come together, and if she does have that breakdown, her friends will be there to keep her strong, and she'll stay strong for her sister.
Yeah, she may not be that strong. We always see her strong. We could see either way, I guess, with Lemon. I don't know what to expect from that. But I do see Zoe as kind of like a calming force, kind of like the factual person, like this is what's happening, this is what, could happen. Like she'll just kind of serve
Yeah.
as the
reassuring
mediator.
voice.
Yeah, kind of helping people out, telling them the facts and telling them what could happen.
What do you guys think with sorry, I can't talk. What do you think will happen with the Rammer Jammer? Like, do you think Lemon will stay and keep working, or do you think she'll leave and go take care of her dad?
I was thinking about that too, because I have no idea what his name is, but the character that used to own the Rammer Jammer
Wally.
like popped up, and he's like,
Yeah,
like
Wally.
you have to pour your heart and soul into this. So I wonder if there's going to be kind of like a situation which she has to
Foreshadowing.
choose, like, oh, am I going to stay here and run the restaurant, or am I going to go support my dad? You know?
I hope not, because I feel like she's just getting what she's wanted for a long
Maybe
time.
that's the
but
point, though.
yeah.
Plus,
Like
it
what's
would-
important in life.
Right, and it would leave Wade to like have
Have
the
his
bar
own
to
bar.
himself, which is kind of what he wanted ultimately too.
Yeah, and I can almost see it becoming like a lunch place for Lemon and like a bar night for Wade. You know, it kind of serve as two different things if she does return. But I do think Wade will be very supportive and still include her in things.
I agree.
He's a good guy. He took that hand off the boat at the same time, so he deep down is a good man. Anything else, you guys? No. Okay, so make sure to join us next week. We'll have Travis Van Winkle in studio on our AfterBuzz couch. Thanks for spending time with us. For Hart of Dixie, I'm Whitney Lane. You can find me on Twitter at WhitneyLane1118 and my website, whitney-lane.com.
You can find me, Paige Sullivan, at Paige Sull on Twitter and Instagram, and at perfectpage.com.
And I'm Christine Archer, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @CArcher.
I'm Michelle Renee. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Michelle Renee LA.
See y'all next week.
Bye.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.